At Gattaca, we're committed to managing health and safety effectively to protect not only our employees but anyone else we interact with. Our employees are our most valued asset, and we know that integrating a positive safety culture into our everyday working practices is an important step on our safety journey. As employers, Gattaca has a responsibility to make sure we give you a safe working environment and process to follow. We have a duty to ensure your safety. But you have responsibilities too. As employees, our responsibilities are to report any incidents, including environmental and safety, and be proactive. If there's something we can make better, then make a good catch and help reduce accidents and potential damage to the environment. Work safely and don't do something if you think it's unsafe. And if for some work you do there's any safety equipment, follow the instructions provided. It's also important to know what to do in the event of evacuation and know who the fire marshals, first aiders and champions are in your area. The first part of this video gives more details about these responsibilities. For more information, go to Pulse and the Document Hub and look through our procedures. Just put the topic you want in the search bar and you'll find it. So firstly, let's talk about incidents. By definition, an incident is either an accident that leads to an injury or damage to property, the environment, or a combination, or a near miss, where under slightly different circumstances, damage or harm could have been caused. So, if you have an incident during work or travelling for work, it's firstly important to gather information. In particular, photographs are really helpful. They can be used to record specific damage as well as conditions at the time and help to give a really clear idea of what happened rather than relying on what someone said. In particular, photos are really helpful for vehicle incidents. Next, either the individual involved or their manager, if they're unable to report, takes the gathered information, completes the incident form on Pulse and reports to the facilities desk within 24 hours. Attaching the form and any photos or details they have. Review of the incident will be carried out by the health and safety team and, where appropriate, will be investigated to make sure suitable controls are put in place. The investigation may require involvement from the person reporting, management and/or any other witnesses. Then once we've investigated, suitable controls will be agreed and actions delegated for completion. All incidents, even if they're minor and don't need an investigation, will be recorded and monitored to make sure controls are effective and any repeats are reviewed. If someone has a serious accident, we might have to report to the Health and Safety Executive. Remember, health and safety is everyone's responsibility, not just your manager's. But if we can, we'd prefer to stop an incident before it happens. Share your good ideas or good catches if you have an improvement. Let us know and make it safe. And if something needs repairing, report it. Don't walk past. As a recruitment company, we also have responsibility to capture any incidents that happen to our candidates. All candidate incidents must be reported by the consultant and recorded on the facilities desk as well as the CRM. If you're contacted with details of a serious or potentially reportable incident, then let us know on the facilities desk as well as informing the legal team to make sure that time limits for reporting are met. It is the client's responsibility for making sure any relevant incident is reported to the Health and Safety Executive. However, you have a responsibility to make sure they fulfil their obligations. The candidate health and safety procedure is on Pulse and outlines everything in more detail. Don't forget to read through it. There are a number of additional roles that people undertake to do with health and safety. These are key roles that provide much needed support to the business. Fire marshals and emergency controllers are the people you'll see responding when we have to evacuate the sites. Fire marshals clear the building, requesting you to leave. They're identified by a bright yellow jacket during evacuation. Their pictures are up in the kitchen areas or on the notice board. If we do have an evacuation, the first fire marshal out becomes the emergency controller, and they record the incident, take control of the other fire marshals, and make notes and liaise with the emergency services if they're called. They'll have an orange high-vis jacket. Another role is first aiders. They provide immediate life-saving medical care and have been called into action a number of times. If needed, they'll call in ambulance and support before the arrival of further medical help. Our first aiders aren't floor or area specific and are expected to respond to any incident on site. Again, look at the list up in the kitchen of who they all are, and it's an excuse to go get coffee. The Champions team makes sure the environment, health and safety issues are positively promoted and regular communication and consultation with employees is carried out. They raise issues or suggestions from people in their area for discussion and talk about it at team meetings, pulling together promotions and awareness articles, as well as activities like charity events or community projects. The Champions are so positive for the business, and we have people on the team that are really passionate about the environment, mental health issues and charity donations and collections. So if you have a charity you're passionate about, an idea related to environmental activities such as a beach clean, or an interest in mental health or safety, then visit the Wellbeing Forum and start a discussion. If you want to take action and be involved in any one of these roles, then contact me, Amanda Scotney, on the Evolve page under Wellbeing, or just ask to attend a meeting or chat with someone else doing the role. Take the opportunity to really make a difference. Risk assessments are put in place to identify hazards, the thing that can cause you harm, and work out the chance of or likelihood of it happening, and then how we can control it or reduce the risk, how we make it safe. We have risk assessments put in place for events that we run or attend, driving unusual journeys and manual handling tasks, to name a few. If you're doing anything that's unusual or you think you should have a risk assessment, discuss with your manager or health and safety if you need help. Risk management is a proactive process and everyone should be involved. There is a risk management procedure in place which gives details on different assessments required and templates for you to use. Search on Pulse in the document hub. The majority of us are working in an office which of course is a low-risk environment, but there are still some things we need to take into consideration. Evacuation, driving to client sites, manual handling and desk setup to name a few. Also consider health conditions, slips, trips and falls. The next section of this video runs through those in a little more detail. As employees, you have responsibilities regarding fire safety. You must cooperate to make sure the workplace is safe from fire and its effects, and mustn't do anything that places you or anyone else at risk. You must do any fire safety training offered and make sure you take part in all drills and exercises. Get familiar with your building and the escape routes. Know where the exits are, extinguishers, and make sure you know your sites and any sites that you visit, including the weekly fire alarm test. If you hear the fire alarm, evacuate. No one should enter the building whilst the fire alarm sounds. And remember, don't collect any of your personal belongings, don't use the lift, go straight to your assembly area and stay there until a fire marshal says that you can go back in. If requested to vacate by a fire marshal, do so immediately. Even if you're on a phone to the client, just explain it's an emergency situation and end the call. Full evacuation procedures are on Pulse. Again, search in the document hub for evacuation instruction and the name of your site. If you have a mobility issue, either long-term or caused by an injury like a break, and won't be able to evacuate, then let your manager know and contact me to arrange for a personal emergency evacuation plan, or PEEP, to be carried out, where we'll put a separate process in place to make sure that you're evacuated safely. Driver safety. Read the Driving on Business and Company Cars procedure if you're planning on driving on company business. If you're using your own car, make sure that you are insured for business use. If you're using a pool car, you'll need a licence check and a safety discussion. E-learning is available from L&D and should be completed by those driving on company business. To prevent injuries and long-term ill health from manual handling, we try to make sure tasks that involve it are eliminated as much as we can. Where this isn't possible, specific risk assessments will be carried out. Full e-learning will be provided to those identified as undertaking manual handling tasks at some locations. Some good techniques to use, though, will be shown next. 1. Assess the load. Is it easy to grip, stable or unstable? Check that you're comfortable to lift it. Rock the load and check the weight. Secondly, Get in close, make sure you have a stable base, and bend your legs. Utilise your thigh muscles rather than relying on your back. Number 3, bend when you pick up the load. Get good balance and only go down as far as you're comfortable with. If possible, keep about 90-degree angle on your legs. Try not to overbend, stretch or reach, and try to keep your head up, facing forward if possible. Grip the box securely. Dependent on how you are comfortable, generally one hand on the front corner and one hand on the back. Keep it really close to your body. Strain on the body is more if the load's held away from your core. Face the direction that you're travelling. It sounds silly, but don't twist where you don't have to. Make sure you move your feet rather than twist at your waist. And when you're putting it down, again, bend your knees, not your back, to put it down. If you do have to go to the floor, try and utilise your legs as much as possible and keep your balance by lifting your head forward. And finally, make sure the load is secure before you step backwards. If you're putting it on a shelf or table, make sure it's fully on and won't topple or fall back when you let go. So, summary. Avoid manual handling where you can, and if you have to carry something that's heavy or awkward, think about using a trolley or a sack truck, or just ask for help for someone to lift it with you. Don't attempt to move something you're not comfortable with, and where you can, break loads down into manageable sizes. Never overreach or stand on chairs. Never stack items above a stable height. Furniture and computer equipment only to be moved by IT or facilities. And if you do need manual handling training, e-learning can be assigned. And remember, if you're not comfortable, don't attempt to lift. Ask for help. Use a trolley. You know your capability. Don't be embarrassed to ask for help. E-learning is mandatory for everyone to carry out, which shows you how to set up your workstation. You'll have a login email from OLAS with the course on there, and do it as soon as you can. It really helps to get into good working practices and prevents sore back and neck. The e-learning shows you how to set up your chair, best position for things on your desk, and how to have good ergonomic working practices, as well as exercises to do at your desk. Finally, think about housekeeping. In your area, make sure that it's clear. Keep all exits and walkways clear, cables and equipment not trailing across the floor. Report potential hazards like frayed carpets or broken steps. Help prevent trips and falls. Keep all common spaces clear of unwanted furniture and all items equipment no longer required. Don't stick them in a corner. Be responsible. If you don't want something, put a request on the facilities desk. Essentially, if you can sort it yourself, do it. Pick it up, move it. If not, then a facilities desk can be used to report for repairs or to have something larger moved. Footwear. Think about footwear and routes you take when out and about. Not so much of an issue in summer, but having no grips on shoes when it's icy or raining and taking that quick route across grass can lead to an accident. Slips and falls can cause serious injury. Employees who require medicine or medical equipment to be stored on site in common areas follow an appropriate storage process. Prescribed medicines and sharps must be stored in a labelled box with the contents outlined, explaining that it isn't to be opened. Electrical one is really important. We've had system issues when people try to move themselves, so don't move any data or power connections. IT and facilities can be contacted to do this. They need notice for moving equipment and will do it for people to ensure appropriate supplies are available. Don't attempt to carry out any work to electrical appliances, including changing plugs. Even if you do it at home, don't do it here. PPE or personal protective equipment. Okay, so it may not be relevant for use in an office environment, but if you are carrying out other activities, visiting a client site, you might need it then. So make sure it's in good condition and that you use it appropriately. So in summary, you must comply with environment, health and safety policies and procedures and do any training that you're sent. Follow the evacuation procedures. Dress sensibly and safely for your working environment. Report all incidents, including vehicle damage, to your supervisor, whether an injury is sustained or if there's any maintenance issues or improvements with that good catch. And most importantly, don't forget to get involved and be proactive. And if you want to support the business and take on one of the safety roles, then contact me, Amanda Scotney, on the Evolve page under Wellbeing, or just ask to attend a meeting or chat with someone else doing that role. Take the opportunity to really make a difference and get involved. Thanks for listening and welcome to Gattaca. And of course, stay safe.